Hey, welcome to Rust Revival Garage. My name is Tim. Got a lot of new subscribers to the channel, which is very, very cool. Thank you very much for joining me. I've got a couple of projects going on. The biggest one is the rewiring of my 1968 Pontiac LeMans. I've in a couple of other videos, I can share them in here and down in the description. I got started, did a big overview video, laid all the wiring out, got the fuse box installed, ran the wiring for the lights, and now I need to do the wiring for the starter and charge system and the engine. The only problem is I don't have an engine in the car. So one of the projects that I need to do today is get that engine back in. And I've never done this before. I'm not a mechanic at all. In fact, I'm not even close to being an expert. Most of the stuff I've ever done on this channel, I'm doing it for the very first time. In fact, this is the first time I've ever put an engine in. So I'm sure there's lots of people out there that have done this 100,000 times, and they're going to be screaming at me going, no, don't do that, no, don't do that. But if you've never done it before, hey, welcome to my channel. I'm kind of here to let you know if I can do this, you can too. Do not be afraid to tackle projects. I'm afraid right now. I've got to put an engine in, and it's a scary prospect. So I guess the only way to do it is to do it. And so, yeah, thank you very much for joining me. Subscribe if you can. I'd really appreciate it. It really does help me grow the channel. Yeah, let's get to it. One of the last things I need to do to finish up this engine is put on the motor mounts. It's the only thing that I did not do, and I've got new ones. I'm going to use the original bolts. Hopefully those can hold up. They do require 70 foot-pounds of torque, so hopefully those old ones will hold up, and then we can start moving the engine closer to the car. If you're not sure which side it goes on, the side with the nut in the back should be away towards the back of the engine. So that's how I can tell the difference between which motor mount goes on which side. You bolt it through the front. Once you match it up onto the mount on the frame, this rests on there, the bolt goes through there, and it tightens on the nut on the back of the motor mount. Just gonna snug these up, then torque them down. This is 11/16 by the way. Always want to lift up on the engine stand so that it doesn't drag it down. There's 70. There we go. Alright, just got to do the other side, and the motor mounts are on. We're good to go. Not going to put on, I do have a little bit of oil in here just to keep things wet, but I did not put my oil filter on just in case that catches on something. So I think we are pretty much good to go. Just need to attach my chain to the head. I've got really strong grade 8 bolts, and I want to make sure I get a good number of threads in there. Alright, I've got my chain on. Just need to tighten it down, but that's about as much slack as I want. It's pulling on the heads, but not too high, and then that way I can lift it up and over and into the car, and should have plenty of room. Okay, so I've got the 350 in here next to the LeMans, no problems. Just got to get everything set up before I drop it back in. Okay, now I need to jack up the transmission and call in some help. Yeah, let me check the trans. That rag is in the way. But alright, so that hole's there. Sorry to
No, you're fine.
take you away from it.
I was just throwing some trash out.
This side. Can't see it. Does it look like the clips are on the outside of it?
No. It's right on it. It needs to slide back.
This way?
Yeah. Like a ½ inch. It's sitting on it though, but.
Oh, it's this way.
Yeah, there you go.
It is. Alright, let me check this side and then we may just drop it straight down. Yeah.
That one in too?
Come on down. We down?
Going.
It is in. The only thing I don't have matched up is the trans, but I think I can rock it a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But it's solid on there.
Yeah. Right,
Cool. All right. Okay, so I wasn't able to film the entire process of dropping it down onto there. A neighbor came and helped me out, and I forgot to turn the camera back on. But really what I did was I got this in close enough, and it was about at least a foot away. The motor mount that was on the engine, and then the motor mount that's on the frame, the mount that's down on the frame were about a foot apart. So what I had to do was, as he lowered it for me, I was pushing it back, and then we got it down, and then I was able to keep going until we were dead on. I dropped it down and managed to get the dowel pins lined up in the transmission, and that was jacked all the way up. So then I was able to lower that down and then sort of rock the transmission back and forth a little bit, because this is pretty much on its spot. I got the transmission rocked a little bit until I got the dowels to line up with the holes in the transmission, lowered it down, and we matched up. Now it's just a matter of putting in the bolts. So I've got the bolts, the motor mount bolts that go in here, and then I've got the transmission bolts that I need to put in to sort of pull that together. Just want to sort of get these engine bolts started. Not until I don't want to tighten them up until I've got the transmission bolts all lined up. These are all 9/16. So I just need to jack the car up a little bit so I can get under there and get those bolts started. I will probably start some of the bolts from back here as well. And let's get our chain off. Whoa. One of the nice things about working on an old classic car is that you can stand in here with it. Where'd the boat go? Oh, the boat fell down there, of course. Anyway, got my chain off. Now, since I'm back here, time to install some bell housing bolts. You know you got it lined up if they can finger tighten in there. Alright, so I will get as many of these as I can get in, and then I'll go underneath and get the bottom ones in. Almost forgot Almost forgot, I need to have transmission dipstick lined up in there as well. Okay, so I thought about it. I just realized I bought a new one of these. This is basically for the dipstick to go down into the transmission. And I need to put this on now before I lock down the dipstick. So yeah, let's crawl under there and put that in. And see, this one isn't bad, but it's a lot squishier than this new one. First, let me make sure it's the same size. Yep. And I probably want to clean it off a little bit up there. That's been flopping around so much as I was cleaning the engine. I should have taken it out, but I figured I can just go ahead and replace that rubber piece. Let's get our new one in. Get our dipstick. Alright, so I've got it started. I'll be able to push it down from the top, but at least I know that this rubber piece is going to be nice and fresh. Alright. Alright, just going to finish up the rest of the bolts. Also, while I'm back here and have some room, I'm going to plug the oil pressure back in. Alright, not much room. Alright, the torque spec is 40 foot-pounds, so that feels like 40. I can't get a wrench up in here, torque wrench up in here anyway. So yeah, bolts are on, bell housing is secure. I do need to reinstall this to the flex plate, but I worry about turning the engine. Right now I've got it on TDC, I'm pretty sure. So maybe I put the distributor in before I start trying to turn this, unless... Actually, I can just turn this. So I think we're good. Now I just need to tighten down the torque converter to the flex plate, and I think that is 95 foot-pounds. So I'm definitely going to have to get the torque wrench down here for that. Now I'm just tightening up the engine mounts. There we go. Okay, these three little bolts need to go on the torque converter to the flex plate. They do get the thread lock, and I'm going to see if I can get under there and show you where it's at, just in case you're doing sort of the same thing and don't know where to go. But probably can't film under there, there's just not enough room. So the first thing I need to do, I can't get both arms under here. Alright, so the first thing I need to do is slide this forward a little bit. And I need to get it lined up. There's the bolt hole here, bolt hole over here. They're fairly lined up, but I may need to put the bolt in, have that pull it forward a little bit. So yeah, one here, and one on the other side, which means I am going to have to turn the motor. I'm going to get these done, this one done, put the distributor in, turn the motor over, get the other one in. After some research, I did find out that there are issues you can have if you pull your torque converter and it has to go too far. So right now, you're supposed to take a 3/16 and a 1/8, and it's kind of hard to see, but these are lined up fairly well. All right, so I've got that in. This is a 3/16, and this just does barely go in between the hole in the torque converter and the hole and the flex plate. So I'm only bringing this out between the 1/8 and the 3/16. So you use let me get out of here. And I'm not explaining this well, but you use a 3/16 drill bit and a 1/8 drill bit, and you place them between. This should go in, fit really easily. This should not go in, at least without jamming it in. And if there is more room than that, you'll need to put some shims or some decent quality washers between your flex plate bolt and the torque converter. But I'm actually using the same flex plate, the same torque converter, the same bolts. So the distance was fine. If you pull it out too much farther than that, it can disengage from the transmission and mess it up. If you don't have enough room, then the problem is it can tear up the pump that's in there. So there are a lot of other videos out there explaining this. I'm probably not doing it well, but I did just know that I did check my gap, and I did have a decent gap, an amount that I can attach the flex plate and the torque converter together. I should be fine. So I got the distributor in, and that allowed me to be able to rotate the flex plate around. I used a 15/16 socket, spun the engine around until I got it to the right spot each time, and then that allowed me to tighten it up in a star pattern. I didn't just do 1, 2, 3 in a row. I did one, I jumped over, jumped back, kept rotating it around, but I didn't film it. It was just me jumping back and forth, sweating like crazy, turning the engine and then checking to see if I got it in the right spot, back and forth and back and forth. So did not film it, but the thread sealer was on each of the bolts. I torqued it down to 95. I had a little bit of a window between the oil pan and the flex plate where I could get the torque wrench in there, but then I could only turn it, rotate it just a few inches at a time. So it was murder. It was a nightmare, but it's all done. That's me getting the engine back into my 68 Pontiac LeMans. The 350 is home and it's happy again. In the next video, I'm going to be putting everything back together. The intake manifold, the carburetor is going to go back on, alternator, power steering, all of that. I'm going to basically button up the engine in the next video. Just kind of wanted to get the engine in. That was the biggest weight off my chest. So subscribe to the channel if you can. It really helps me grow the channel. It truly does. Like it if you got anything out of it. And leave a comment below. Let me know what I did wrong, what I could have done better, which is probably many things, I'm sure. But except for the help of my neighbor, I kind of did it all by myself, so I'm pretty proud about that. First time ever putting an engine back in. Pretty excited. So thank you very much for tuning in. We will catch you next time.